It is August the 11th still, and we're gonna see if we cannot finish this story today. All right, I know it's super long, and I can't blame you for watching it in segments. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so long. I can't even believe that I've gotten this far and stuff, man. I want to congratulate myself real briefly before we dive back into the drama. All right, it's about to take place. All right, as you recall, if seen the last segment of this story, as you might recall, I'm being dropped off at my mom's house. All right, me and Bebe. All right, obviously Bebe's in the car with us. Instead of dropping Ashley off at her work. All right, and so I'm curious as to why, and so I asked her, what's going on here, and she, using as little words as possible, says, basically, stuff is very complicated and it's not necessarily working out in the way that she would like it to, and she needs a little bit of time to think about things. And so therefore what she's explaining to me is, what I'm going to do is spend some time at my mom's house for a while. All right, for an indefinite amount of time. All right, and you know suffice it to say, I'm kind of speechless. All right, I don't know what exactly is going on. It's like you need some time to think about some stuff or whatever. I know that very peculiar things have been happening over the past few days and stuff like that. And I was just like, I guess I don't know what's going on, all right, but whatever, fine. Let's do whatever it is you're talking about. All right. So me and Bebe get dropped off at my mom's house, and then Ashley heads to work, stuff like that. We have conversations through text messages and stuff over the phone where I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And Ashley's explaining to me she needs some time and I'm gonna have to stay at my mom's for a little while and stuff while she gets some stuff figured out. Okay. And okay, over the next, I can't remember, but it's kind of fuzzy in my head. But over the next couple of weeks, what happens is, Ashley, leaves Bebe with me at my mom's house and stuff, and she goes to work, and then she comes back later, and by this point we're figuring out, okay, we're in a separation mode, right? So obviously all sort of red flags going off. My head is like completely, I'm dumbfounded. I'm not sure what's going on. Certainly the last place that I want to be in the world is living at my mom's house, right? For any amount of time, all right? So I'm just very antsy. I don't know what the heck's going on. But it's starting to dawn on me as some days go by, that it's seeming like semi-permanent what's going on here. And it's all very peculiar. And me and Ashley will work out these things, like, because neither one of me and Ashley have ever, up to that point, my daughter's about to turn 4 years old. We never spent like a whole bunch of time away from my daughter. Like Ashley has, and then she's had 24-hour shifts as an ENT, or sometimes 48-hour shifts, in which like you should work for 48 hours and that'll be it for the week. There's been that. But other than that, me and her have hardly spent any time away from my daughter at all for the entirety of the 4 years. All right, so obviously she's going to want to see Bebe. All right, so this would happen for the next couple of weeks, is that she'd either drop Bebe off, all right, or she'd be picking Bebe up to spend time with her over in Canyon Lake and stuff like that. And it's very peculiar. I became just extremely lost in my head. I had no idea what the heck is going on, All I knew that something was very, very wrong. All right, and I couldn't figure out a solution to it. There was no sweet talking. Actually, I would try, my best attempts to really kind of like have her warm up to me via text messages, sometimes on the phone, talking to her. All right, but it's just nothing was working at all. All right, and I was becoming very weary, and it didn't take more than a few days that I was becoming extremely depressed. A depression I never felt in my life before. I mean, I've been depressed in my life, but never to this extent. Like my brain was going haywire, just extremely malfunctioning. All right, and I was getting very depressed and very weary of everything going on in our lives at that point. And I remember one particular conversation that me and Ashley were having over the phone, maybe about a week or so, a week and a half into this little separation that we're going through, in which Ashley finally breaks it to me. Something that I guess I didn't personally piece together, in that Bebe has autism. That's the first time it was ever brought up, right? And she has, I guess, sincere developmental issues, and I remember it being said that she has to go into therapy. And when that was said, I was kind of like, what the hell are you talking about? Therapy? Like, my daughter's not going to go into therapy. Like, I don't know what therapy she's even talking about. She's probably talking about speech therapy at that point. But I was just so bewildered by everything going on that caught me from left field. And I was just like, not only are we separated, but now my daughter has autism, according to people, and she's got to go into therapy, and I don't even know what the heck you're talking about. I was just thoroughly confused. You can't be more confused than I was. But it was starting to really sink in that there was no winning Ashley over, right? And in fact, our conversations would become less and less over the phone. You know, basically, she's becoming more and more just cutting the ties to the point where I got very frazzled and frantic, very alarmed. To the point is, one time I actually drove my mom's truck over to Canyon Lake to see if I couldn't maybe like just talk to Ashley, and I left the baby with my mom. All right, so they were sleeping in the same room. Like, baby was accounted for, but I took the truck to Canyon Lake in the middle of the night just to see like if I couldn't, maybe talk to Ashley personally, just me and her, and see what the heck is going on. All this drama and all just from out of nowhere in my mind. And obviously it wasn't from out of nowhere, but in my mind it was from out of nowhere, and I just did not understand what was going on. And I actually drove out to Canyon Lake, and in the middle of the night, and I tried to come in the house, and it was in the middle of the night, and honestly I wasn't even going to talk to Ashley because I figured she'd be dead asleep and stuff like that. So I was just going to go on the couch and wait for her to wake up and stuff, and see if I couldn't have a conversation with her. Mind you, in Canyon Lake, we never locked the doors. There was never a point to locking the doors anyways. We just never locked the doors out there. It was that kind of a place. And when I would get out to Canyon Lake, I realized the door is locked. Right? And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Who knows? I'm expecting the worst and stuff. I don't know what the heck's going on here. I don't want to wake up Ashley because it's the middle of the night. I'm frantic. I'm in some sort of space in my head where nothing's computing. I don't understand what's going on. And I actually wound up spending the night outside on the front porch. And it's all cold and it's kind of drafty and stuff like that. And it's just you're outside, and I fell asleep on the porch. Ashley winds up waking me up in the morning as the sun's rising and stuff like that, coming up off of onto the front porch and seeing me out there. And at that point she invites me to come in and have a conversation with her. And we have a short conversation, and it's actually kind of pleasant, to be honest with you. I mean, it's just like I explained to her, I don't know what the heck's going on. I don't know what to do about this whole thing. But I also explained to her that I'm realizing that I don't want this to happen. Whatever is happening, I don't want this. I wanna be able to fix this, right? And Ashley kind of like, I guess during this short conversation before she actually had to go to work and stuff, she kind of, I don't know how you call it. She kind of smooth talks me. She kind of lets me know, everything's gonna be all right. You just gotta give this some time and stuff, and things are we're gonna make this work and stuff like that. And just don't you worry about it. Just go back, and I'll talk to you later about what's going on here. All right. So as time goes on, um, stuff is it's getting, obviously more and more like that. This is not going to be salvageable. Whatever's going on, this is seeming more permanent as a couple of weeks are passing, right? And without my knowledge, I gotta let you know that the last time I saw my baby, the second to last time I saw my baby was actually on her birthday when I took her and I was the one, having her and stuff, and Ashley was doing her own thing, going to work and going back to living at the trailer at Canyon Lake. And the last time I saw my baby was actually Ashley had called me up, or I was in communication with her, and she let me know that she was actually taking Baby to the clinic because Baby was sick with something, like she had run a temperature and stuff like that, or her bronchiolitis or whatever, something was happening. That it was necessary to take her to the clinic and stuff like that. And she asked me, if I could help out with that. And honestly, my money was kind of like stretched a little bit thin. I didn't mention earlier, but I was actually working on starting a new career in farming. I was working with a farmer at that point. I had a totally different job at that point where I was working with a farmer and I was getting into farmers marketing and stuff like that. I forgot to mention that earlier, but that is what was taking place at that particular time as far as my occupation. And I was earning like pretty decent money, but like, definitely not anywhere close to what Ashley was earning. She was paying the brunt of the bills, just to let you know. And yeah, that's very irresponsible. But I was trying to get, farmers marketing off and running and stuff, because if you play your cards right, you can make pretty decent money at these farmers markets and stuff like that. Because mind you, I was getting more and more and more and more interested in nutrition and health and getting fresh produce and stuff. So I started getting to know farmers and stuff. Um, anyways, the last time I saw my baby, Ashley had called me and let me know she was at the clinic and where to find her, and it's kind of not too far away from my mom's house, and so because my money was kind of tied up, and I had actually given Ashley like a bunch of money, I think like $500 prior to that, in order to make sure that she could pay for bills and stuff. I happened to have like that amount of money, $600 to my own person and stuff. So I gave her about $500 or whatever, something like that, to make sure she could pay bills during this time in which we're separated, right? And so I'm running short on money just because I kind of like gave up the last of my money and stuff. And I actually had to ask my mom if I could borrow her credit card, which I did and stuff. And I immediately took that to the clinic. And of course, I told my mom I was going to pay her back, and I did pay her back. But I had to borrow her credit card and take it to the clinic to make sure that the doctor bill could be paid at that particular time. And we're at the clinic and stuff, and while we're in the waiting room, and then after, the doctor and stuff, afterwards, we're having this kind of like conversation in which I'm talking about, like, I don't know what the heck's going on. I understand, and I'm explaining to Ashley, it's like I understand that I've messed up in a sincere way and stuff, and it's just like, it's obvious that you're not satisfied in what's going on and stuff, and whatever I can do to fix this, that's what I'm gonna do and stuff. I'm prepared to do whatever it takes, you know. And I explained that. That's one of the last things that I explained actually to my wife at that point in time, and it was the last time I saw my baby. In fact, as I was saying bye to Ashley, she said, go ahead and kiss your daughter and stuff, and it was weird because she never told me to kiss my daughter in our whole lives, right? It was kind of like unprecedented. Right, I found that very strange. It was very strange that she said that. I was like, dude, nobody tells me to kiss my daughter or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to tell me to do that sort of thing. I found it very strange. But, in retrospect, it kind of find out the reason she told me to do that is because basically, from what I gathered, that was the last time she was expecting me to see my daughter. Kind of find out, and I didn't find this out until way later. All right, but that's wound up being what had happened shortly after my daughter's 4th birthday. And so I left and stuff, and they left, and they went back to Canyon Lake. And over the next few days, it came to my awareness. It was made aware to me that Ashley had plans to move out of the trailer in Canyon Lake and, in fact, get an apartment in San Antonio, which there was nothing that I could do about it at that particular point. So I was like, oh, I guess, all right, if that's what's going to happen, all right. Like, I didn't know what to say to that at that point. And so that winds up happening. She moves from the trailer to a place in San Antonio. And in fact, she says, you have all this stuff in the trailer. I want to bring that up briefly. She's like, you have all this stuff in the trailer that's yours and stuff, to include furniture, to include the bed, to include this and that. You might want to get this stuff, come get it and stuff. The thing is, I didn't have no money for that sort of stuff. Of course, my mom did have a truck and stuff like that, but I was extremely confused and stuff, and very bewildered. And basically, I let her know, it's like, I don't want any of that stuff. Whatever you're talking about, as far as furniture and this and that, I'm not concerned about any of that, nor do I want to get it. Like, if anything, hold on to it, all this stuff. I don't understand why you want me to take this stuff and where I would even put this stuff. Like, I don't have nowhere to put all this stuff that you're talking about. And so I let her know, it's like, dude, I can't get all this stuff. I have no logistical way of even being able to take this stuff. I don't know what you're talking about. And anyway, she winds up doing something with the furniture. I don't know what she does with it, as far as maybe she had it thrown away. Actually, I think I found out later on that she basically just had to leave it there and wound up, having to pay a fee for somebody to go ahead and remove that stuff, all my stuff, basically. At that point, I was getting into like desperation mode. I was not concerned about any of my furniture or anything. Like, and nothing mattered to me as far as that was going, because stuff was going very haywire. Obviously, like, that was the least of my problems at that point. I said, do what you will with the furniture and stuff. I don't know what's going on here. And so they wound up moving into an apartment in San Antonio. And I was still trying to desperately keep up communications with Ashley at that point. Desperately. I'm trying to call her up and text her and stuff like that, to the point of being kind of frantic and perhaps very, what's the word? Like a nuisance, I can imagine, I was being very frustrating at that point and stuff. All right. And so they move into this apartment, and I don't know where's the apartment. All I know is the basic general direction of the apartment, somewhere on the northeast side of San Antonio, which is very close to where her step parents live. All right. And so she lets me know that they're moving into this apartment, and that's what's going to happen. The trailer in Canyon Lake, that's pretty much done for. Um, and so it's like after a few days, perhaps a week, my brain is just kind of, I'm in a sense totally losing it. Not to say I'm kind of violent or anything. It's just that I can't compute what the heck's going on. And I remember having a conversation with her in which I was like, it's been a number of days since I seen Baby, and I would like to come see you as well and visit just to see, I guess you got an apartment and stuff, and I want to check it out and say hi to y'all and stuff like that. And mind you, I had freaking, like I said, my brain was not computing things and stuff. I was just kind of desperate. I wanted to see my baby. Like it had been a number of days since I seen her, probably over a week. And I was getting very, very frantic. Right, to the point is like I was doing bizarre things. All right, for example, uh, I was on the phone and I was trying to communicate with Ashley. She had let me know that, like, perhaps I could come and visit on this particular day. Perhaps, if you like, if the mood strikes and everything falls in line, maybe I can come visit. And I was like, okay, I'll come visit on this particular day. I'll come visit and stuff. Just come by, pick me up, and just show me the apartment and stuff. And I want to see Baby, and let's do it. And she doesn't really respond on that particular day. When I'm getting ready, I'm like excited. It's like, oh man, I haven't seen Baby in like over a week, and this is not common for me. This is in her whole life. I've never gone so much as a day without seeing her. All right. And so I'm becoming quite frantic and quite depressed at the same time. And it's just like, man, I gotta see y'all. I gotta see y'all. I'm letting her know, yeah, I gotta see y'all. And I was like, trying to text her and be like, okay, when are you gonna come by and stuff, and so I can see y'all today and stuff like that. And she would not respond back. And just to give you a taste of how desperate I was, I just left my mom's house and started walking in the direction of Northeast San Antonio. Right. And I was texting her the whole time, like, okay, all right, I got to see you. I got to see y'all. Um, I'm coming to see y'all and stuff. So it's like, when you get this message, just let me know as soon as you get this message, and I'll communicate and let you know where I'm at. But in the meantime, I'm coming to y'all's direction. I'm going y'all's direction. And my brain is so going haywire and not computing things that I don't even ask my mom to borrow her truck or nothing like that. I just start walking in the direction of Northeast San Antonio, from the northwest side of San Antonio, walking and walking. Meanwhile, texting her the whole time, like, okay, hey, what's going on? What's going on today? And I'm headed y'all's way and stuff. Like, maybe you can meet me in the middle, and I'll let you know where I'm at. And you can come pick me up and whatever. We'll hang out a little bit, and, talk a little bit, and I gotta explain that I walked such a far away. To be honest, like I was kind of so desperate and losing it in my head that I wanted to just, like I said, walk in that direction. And I didn't give up walking until about 8.5 miles later. I know that's the case because I didn't give up on walking, and this is in San Antonio heat, by the way, until I reached UTSA, which, just so that it's about 8.5 miles away from my mom's house, right? So, I mean, it's according to Google, it's like a 3 hour walk, or not a 3 hour, um, yeah, yeah, about 3 hours if you're walking to get there. So, after about 3 hours walking through the San Antonio heat, in order to see if I can't visit with Baby and Ashley, I realized Ashley ain't responding. She ain't coming to get me and stuff, and it's like my body's basically giving out, having after having walked 8.5 miles through this heat, and I wound up calling my little brother to come pick me up. All right, and which he does. He comes to UTSA to pick me up and then bring me back to my mom's house, and that's the last time I attempted. That was my last desperate attempt to see my daughter. At the same time, I would wind up texting my wife and calling and stuff, just to no avail. All right, and days would go by, and after that particular attempt, for about a week after that, it's hard to describe even the desperation that I was feeling. But for example, there was during that week, I honestly, it's hard to explain exactly, but I honestly forgot not how to eat. It's not that I forgot how to eat. It's I forgot, literally in my head, I forgot why to eat. I forgot why it is that people eat. Like I was really losing it. And at the same time, I realized that I couldn't sleep either. You know, for days and days, like during nighttime when people go to sleep and stuff, I wasn't hearing from my wife. I wasn't seeing my daughter, and I was forgetting why to eat. I could not go to sleep to save my life, to the point is where it was really causing me to malfunction in my head, and there would be certain nights when I would just go walking around the streets, like damn near a zombie walking around the dang streets. My brain was totally losing it. Totally losing it. Not to say in a violent way, but just in a way of I can't compute what's happening in the world. I don't know why to eat. I can't eat because I don't know why I would. I can't sleep and I have no idea how to go to sleep. All right, it was very messed up. All right, and it was at that point in my life where I started to realize, man, I've hit rock bottom. You know, it's starting to dawn more and more onto my brain that I have just lost everything. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who to ask. I don't know who to talk to. I had conversations actually with Ashley's stepmom and whoever I could have conversations with, just to figure out, okay, what the heck is going on? How can I see my daughter? Like, what's going on here? How can I talk to Ashley? I don't know what's going on here. But it's starting to dawn on my head gradually that everything is lost. Everything that's worth having in life is being lost, and it's at that point in my life that basically I gotta let you know that I start being born again, if you will. And a lot of people bring that up, the idea of being born again. I gotta let you know, to one extent or another, as far as being born again goes, people ain't born again, all right, until something very dramatic happens in their life. Typically, that would be losing everything that's of any importance in their life. This is when people are born again, right? And actually, I forgot to mention, but I started getting into the Bible and stuff like that as my baby was getting older and older, and I was starting to look for solutions, and I was starting to look for answers in the world. I started to read the Bible, and I had actually during when baby was still in my life, physically, I had read the Bible about 1.5 times through, all right, just to see what was in there. I never knew what was in there all through my childhood. That was not something that was encouraged and stuff. So trying to become a legitimate father and stuff in my daughter's life, I started to read the Bible, and I started to understand what it was saying, and starting to really, really understand the legitimacy of the Bible. Right? On an intellectual level, I was really starting to understand why the Bible is what it is, why people go to it the way that they do. But this is before being born again, right? Intellectually, I was beginning to understand the Bible, right? But it wasn't until I didn't know how to sleep. I did not know why to eat. Uh, Everything was going wrong until I was actually literally born again. All right. And, it's hard to explain in great detail the, the how that takes place, that particular progression of realizing, dang, I've hit rock bottom, and there's no way, there's nothing I can do about it. I have to put it in somebody else's hands that's not my own. I'm not getting help from anywhere else. At one point, I just basically put it in God's hands. I said, you know what, I can't. It's obvious that I'm not in control of any of this. All right, so I'm leaving it up to God, and He's gonna have to get me through this, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I just don't know what I'm doing, and I'm completely desperate. I'm so low. I've never been this low before in my life. All right, and God did see me through those tough times. I'm here today and stuff, and God made that made my body capable of getting through that devastating period in my life. Uh, That's when I actually started, on another note, started getting into running, because I realized I can't go to sleep. I don't know how to go to sleep. And that was starting to play with my brain in all sort of ways, to the point of almost hallucinating. And I realized, dude, I had to go to sleep. I had to go to sleep at some certain point. There's no way someone could just stay up forever without basically dying. And so at one point in time, I realized I need to start running, just running, until I'm freaking exhausted. Maybe when I'm done being exhausted, maybe perhaps I'll be able to go to sleep. And that actually was the case. All right. Eating hardly nothing at all. Desperately wanted to just go to sleep. I started running frantically every day, just to make sure that I could go to sleep, exhausting myself physically to ensure that I could go to sleep, if nothing else, if I could have that. Okay. And that's actually when I first got into running. And running's definitely a big part of my life and stuff like that, even up until today and stuff. I really like doing it. But okay, let's forget about the running thing. Over weeks and months, I'm realizing my baby's being kept from me. Like, after a while, it's just like, oh man, something's terrible is happening, and my baby's not here, and I don't know what the heck's going on. There's nothing I could do about it except, get a job. Thing is, like I said, my brain was going all haywire and stuff like that, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And meanwhile, at that very same time, during this very same period, the farmer that I was working with, I was working on his farm as like a farmhand, he was starting to give me the business and starting to give me the runaround. And basically, he had to let me know, like, I don't want you here anymore and stuff. And that was kind of devastating on its own. Like, that wasn't really, at that particular point, having had lost everything, him saying, oh man, I just don't want you coming around anymore. that was really bad, but it's not like the worst of my problems, basically. So when that happened, I hollered at my man Andrew Trevino, Andrew El Nino. I hollered at him to see if I could get a job, and he actually wanted to give me a job at one of the Chinese food restaurants. And it's a number of those Chinese food restaurants. Um, but he wanted to give me a job that was available in which I was working in the back in the kitchen, not being a server, getting those tips or anything, but basically almost just working basically over minimum wage, and so that I would have some sort of money, right? And so I wound up getting a job at this Chinese food restaurant in the back, working barely over minimum wage, like I said, in order to make sure that I had a little bit of money. And while this is happening, weeks are going by, months are going by. While that's taking place, every single day I'm texting my wife to her number, um, and at certain times actually calling her workplace to see if she was available. She's like never available, right? Coincidentally, she's never available, and I could never get a hold of her. But I would just keep texting every day, just texting to no avail. Wouldn't get a response at all. Weeks were going by, months were going by. Um, it's like, if I just stay with it, eventually she's going to contact me. She's going to get back in contact with me and stuff. And I had a conversation or two with her stepmom, just talking about like, hey, I need to see my daughter. Like this, I don't know what the heck's going on. Like, can you please help me? To no avail. Like, there was no help there and stuff. So time just kept going on. I just kept going to work. And like I said, I had to make sure to exhaust myself in order to make sure I could go to sleep. So I would run to work. I would have access if, like, my mom would let me drive the truck to work if I wanted it, if I wanted that. But I knew I had to exhaust myself, so I'd run to work, and I would run back from work, and I would make sure that I was exhausted enough to maybe get some sleep at night. And this went on for months, and I just didn't know what to do. And at a certain point, I had to realize that it didn't matter who I talked to. I could talk to everybody. I could talk to my family. I could talk to her family. I could try to contact her desperately over and over and over every day. No response. Nothing. And I basically had to bite the bullet on that one. It's just like there's nothing I can do. I'm trying to see if I can meet someone in the middle and get some sort of solution, no matter what it is, at least so that I could see my daughter, which is something that, what I'm saying, was really driving me crazy. To no avail, to no avail. And this went on for months and months. I didn't mention, actually, back when me and Ashley got married in our little ceremony, part of my vows, um, just being kind of realistic. I was like, as far as people in our lives, the adults that have set the example, they've all totally had miserable failures and stuff like that. And I was like, I knew that we were going against the odds getting married. So I said, hey, no matter what, no matter if we hate each other's guts, no matter what, it's like, dude, I want to be married and stuff. I want you to be my wife and stuff. But no matter what, we're gonna make sure to spend our anniversary, which would happen to be Christmas Eve. All right, we're gonna spend every Christmas Eve together, no matter what happens in our lives. That's part of my vows. Is we might be at who knows what's gonna happen, but no matter what, we're gonna make sure to be together on our anniversary, on Christmas Eve. All right. So I'm texting her, and mind you, we're separated since August. And I'm texting her every single day, hoping for a response, hoping against hope. And somehow in my delusional mind, I'm thinking, shoot, okay, like I said, it's part of our vows. We're definitely going to see each other on our anniversary. So I started texting her about that. It's like, oh, I'm getting excited. Like I said, I'm delusional. I have no idea what's going on. And it's been months. All right. And so I'm like getting excited about Christmas Eve coming because that's going to be, finally I'm going to get to see y'all because, that was the vows that we're definitely going to see each other on Christmas Eve no matter what. And I'm making plans, and I'm telling her, okay, I know it's been months and stuff, and we haven't communicated things of that nature. I got to know like what the heck's going on, and and not only that, like I'm making plans. I'm talking to nobody. I'm texting nobody, right? And I'm making plans to see her on Christmas Eve, and I let her know where she can meet me. And in my delusional mind, I'm thinking, finally, I'm gonna get to see my daughter after months. I'm gonna get to see my wife because that was the deal. And on Christmas Eve, I realized, obviously, I'm texting myself. I'm actually hanging out in the place where I told her to meet me, and I realized ain't nobody coming. There's nobody coming. There's nobody coming to meet me. All right, and so that's another devastating blow that winds up happening. And I guess it was a few days after that I wound up calling her workplace again. Trying to get over that devastating blow. I try to call her workplace again when I know she's probably going to be at work, and she actually winds up picking up. Ashley. She winds up picking up, and on our brief conversation, I let her know that I love her and I miss her and I miss everything. I miss baby. I need to see y'all. Like I don't know what's going on here, and I want to just see y'all and stuff like that. And in a real brief conversation that we had, uh, Ashley lets me know that she never in her life wants to see me again. And this is while I'm actually at my work. That's when I called her while I was at my work on the work phone, right? Because here's the thing: after Christmas Eve, um, I get so frustrated that I actually realized. I think it might have been the day after. I think it might have been either Christmas or the day after Christmas. I think it was the day after. I think it was the 26th. That I become so frustrated that I smash my phone. Which obviously is my only phone. I didn't really have much money to buy another phone, so I just didn't have a phone. Right. So I'm actually calling her from the work phone at this Chinese food restaurant, about to go into a work shift. And she, like I said, she says, I don't want to see you again ever in life. And as you can imagine, that was absolutely, I was paralyzed. I was numb. I couldn't feel anything except for uh, just, I don't even know how to describe it, but just absolute desperation and dejection and complete failure. And I turned around and I asked, if I could go home because I'm numb. I don't know how to. My brain is not working anymore. And I asked, can I go home? And it basically said, no, you can't go home. You actually have to work your shift. And I wind up doing that. I work my shift at the Chinese food restaurant because I really have no choice. Um, and pretty much I black out. I don't remember. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure I went through the motions. I'm sure I did everything because it wound up working out, but I black out. I'm saying? I don't remember the rest of that day. Um, that was pretty bad. Actually, I'm about to run out of memory, and come to find out, it's going to take one more segment But, obviously that was the most devastating part. That's, I guess, the climax of the story. All right. I'm about to run out of memory, so I'll see you on the other side. All right. And we're going to finish up how exactly I feel about my wife, or my ex-wife now, and why it is I don't see my daughter. All right. We're going to talk about that and finish up this thing. Long, long, long story. All right. I'll holla at y'all.